from the crowd response, because they were just kind of like all excited and like, oh, I got a new project, and Single Second was so good towards the end, and this was just, it was not that. I think they were expecting me to take a single second and just keep kind of rolling with it.
Hello, welcome to 3 Gigs, the podcast that tells the stories of 3 shows that have had a profound effect on a performer's life and career. Their very first show, their best show, and their worst show. I'm your host, Dominic Davey, and today my guest is Shawn Peter from the band Ghost Town Rebellion.
Cross the rivers to the mountainside.
This episode of 3 Gigs is brought to you by FreshCleanTees.com. It works like a shave club, but they send you t-shirts, super awesome t-shirts. And they have a special offer for all the listeners of 3 Gigs. Save 20% off your first order by going to FreshCleanTees.com and entering the coupon code GIG at checkout. That's FreshCleanTees.com with offer code GIG.
Losing track of time, just walking away. Trying to catch your last breath, let the truth be told. It's never easy to win the silver and gold.
Deep down Americana roots rock from the heart of Sacramento, California. The Ghost Town Rebellion actually started back in 2015 and is a serendipitous affair of blues and charm from singer-songwriter Shawn Peter, who is known from his previous efforts in bands like A Single Second, The Lonely Kings, and Foodie, and whose love of Sacramento history provides the rich historical-based lyrics with an outlaw theme that the band is known for. In fact, Rebellion describes themselves as outlaw Americana grit rock in the most purest, most honest, most hardest, most rawest form. In addition to all of that, Shawn is also an accomplished audio engineer who built and operates his own studio called the Decompression Chamber. So with all that on his plate, he was actually able to make a bit of time for me to tell me about his first, best, and worst shows of all time. But as it turns out, his first show for his band may have also been his worst show. You know what, I think I'm just going to let him tell you how his band got started.
So I think it was the second lineup that I had. The first lineup was with the drummer from Life in 24 Frames, Joe, and his 2 old bandmates, Rob and Corey, and that's how we got the name, was that original lineup. And they were in a band called, my old band, Single Second, used to tour with all the time, One Dying Secret. And we were like, okay. They're like, well, we're jamming, Shawn. And I'm like, oh, cool. They go, I heard Single Second broke up. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just kind of moonlighting with some people right now. I don't really know what I want to do. I don't want to stop playing music. I don't know if I want to be the only lead singer in the band, which I never did. I always wanted someone else to be the front. And he's like, why don't you come out and jam? So we started jamming, and then I think we were together for about three or 4 months, and then Corey got married again, and then immediately found out his wife was pregnant, and he's like, well, I can't do the group, and then Joe's like, well, I'm doing Life in 24 Frames, and I don't want to take away from that. I'm like, okay, and then I think we wrote 2 songs together in that time period, and 2 of those songs ended up on the first EP, and that was Sunshine Gold, what became Sunshine Gold, and oh gosh, what song was it? It was supposed to be called the Ghost Town Rebellion. I think I called it something. I can't remember the name of the song. But anyway, the second lineup we played, I think it was the Press Club, and I think everyone was like all my old Single Second fans were there, and then they saw us play it, and it was kind of like a little bit like, yeah, I want to keep practicing. It was one of those things.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that lineup lasted for like maybe another 6 weeks after that, and the bass player and I got into a huge argument, and I apologized, and he quit. And then the drummer got a job transfer up to Seattle, and we were still pretty good friends. And then Dave, the other guy we got for guitar and do lead vocalist, had some other issues going on, so he backed out. And then I did have a little grunge project with Sarah Volkoff and our old bass player, Shawn called Foodie, and we're like a little grunge band. That was just kind of like my little one thing I did like once, twice a week, and we played once or every 2 months we played a show. It was more like just so I didn't go mad not playing music was kind of like one of those projects. And I think I remember writing like 8 songs, and we're actually starting to use a couple of those songs in the Ghost Town Rebellion. And so his buddy, Daryl, and then we got Andrew, who was part of the three-way on drums, and then Shawn was on bass. And we did that, I think, for a good year. I think we must have played like, I don't know, good 40 or 50 shows. But then, by then, we were getting a lot better, a lot tighter. So, but I would say that first show we did at the Press Club with the second lineup I did, it was probably like the worst show we played. It was like, from the crowd response, because they were just kind of like all excited and like, oh, I got a new project, and Single Second was so good towards the end, and this was just, it was not that. I think they were expecting me to take a Single Second and just keep kind of rolling with it. Where the Ghost Town Rebellion, and I'm adding more elements like Americana and folk and swamp rock. So we got lap steel and horns and banjo, and I slowed. I took the tempos down, so it's not so heavy punk rock and all that stuff anymore. So I think that would probably be the worst show we played. And I think the best show we played would be the current lineup, and that would be, I think, what really started turning heads was, I think, last summer. We got to be main support for the Alarm. I heard they were coming through in January of last year, and I hit up the venue they were playing at, and they put us on because we just did an acoustic set with Chuck Reagan from Hot Water Music, and we just killed it that night on the acoustic guitars. And so like, yeah, really. And the show was sold out, so I think that was probably at the moment the best show we played next to our album release show last October. That's probably, that was probably better than the Alarm, because we were at capacity for, I think, 2 hours while we're buzzed. We did like 3-hour sets, and there was a line around the block to get in, and it was just like they wouldn't let anybody else in it unless people left. And as soon as people left, they would let more people in, and it was just a packed venue all night long.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we were. It was the Halloween party too, so we were all dressed up. I went and ordered Sgt. Pepper, Lonely Hearts Club Band jackets for everybody, and we were dressed up as Sgt. Pepper, and it looked really cool too. So
yeah, I bet. That's
and then
awesome.
It was funny. Yeah, so I would probably say between the Alarm and our album release show last year, those were probably the 2 best shows we played. And then what was the third question?
It's the very first show you played, the best, and the worst. That's it.
The worst. Okay, yeah. So I would say the first show we played was probably the worst. Like probably doubled, and then we had 2 really good shows last year. So our album release and then the Alarm show. So I hope that kind of counts for the 3 shows there.
It does. But since you summarized that very quickly, like what would be a good what was the story of the very first time you ever performed? Let's add that in too.
First time I ever performed, oh gosh, I would probably be 5. My mom used to make me do, or she would sign me up to do, because I would always sing and make up songs when I was a kid, since I was a little guy. And she just thought, yeah, this guy's going to be on the stage. All he wants to do is play, like I would ask, I think I was 11. My dad used to be an accordion and drummer. And I think by the time I was 11, my dad finally got tired of me bugging him to teach me how to play drums. And I would always I would point in those pictures, I'm like, I want to learn, where's your drum kit? Oh, it's up in the attic. I'm like, well, teach me how to play drums. No, we'll do that later. It's kind of loud. So she started having me doing musicals. And I remember I just ever since I've been on stage and the spotlight hits you, just kind of like, you freeze for a second, but then you start doing your routine, and then you get all into it. And I've always been just kind of like, as soon as the go times go, it's like smile from ear to ear, and I just want to entertain and have a good time. And I think I've always done that, from show to show. I mean, so. That's probably the earliest thing I remember. I remember doing like school plays and stuff like that, musicals. Just, I was never like the star. I was like the guy next to the guy that was better than me. But always, any chance I got to perform or be on stage or do a play and so forth, I I went after it.
When you what was like the moment when you played music? You knew that was the that was the moment. Then you knew that like this was for you even more than acting.
Yeah, I think it's like I've been in bands since I was 14, and we would play like church events and stuff like that, or we'd play like some backyard party. But I remember I used to always go to the Guild Theater in downtown Sac, and I currently live like 2 blocks away from it now in a park. I remember the first time I actually played a show there when I was like 17. I think there was maybe like 50, 60 people in the audience, and I just felt like that was we were kind of like somewhere between Nirvana meets The Cure. I couldn't even describe the sound that we were writing original tunes-wise. They didn't suck, but they weren't like super rad. But I remember just like we just played really, really well that night, and I remember like that was like the moment. Like, yeah, I just want to do this and feel like this every night for the rest of my life, because it's just like the coolest thing in the world. The adrenaline rush and hearing your voice bounce off the wall and of something you wrote, and you think it's the greatest thing in the world when you're 17, but the audience was pretty receptive, but most of them are just your friends anyway, and they're just cheering you on because like it's like, hey, you're doing it, that's awesome, so.
That's awesome. That's spectacular, man. Those are great stories. That's pretty much it. That's the episode. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, anything else you'd like to add for people?
I think the biggest thing for me now for us as a band with my current band is actually we're getting people up to dance, and like it used to be like all serious, and now we're all about like really trying to like that's my biggest thing is like I just want to see people enjoy themselves, and then I'm enjoying myself on stage, and then people just kind of sit there and they watch like, oh, you missed a note there, or like, are we connecting, or what's going on? Are we playing good, or are we just background music tonight? But when I see people starting getting up and dance and enjoying themselves, I'm like, I know, okay, now we're connecting to people, or getting them to forget their problems for the day and say, yeah, let's just shake our ass and let our hair down for a couple of hours and let's have a good time, and then worry about everything else tomorrow.
It's funny that you say that, because I've had a lot of guests on the show talk about how they felt like in the last couple of years, not even a couple of years, like the last 10 years, there's been a shift in America about American audiences being not as into stuff, very much more, like, much more reluctant to jump in. How do you feel about that?
I don't disagree with that. I think American audiences, because we are the #1 entertainment capital of the world, are just overwhelmed with everything all the time, and I think it's just that they don't know how to react or anything, or are they judgmental? Are they sure? Are they insecure about themselves? Or if they even enjoy it, are they insecure about themselves getting up and just dancing? Like, we're like, but we are getting people to do that, so I'm not worried about that as much, because I feel like we're now like figuring out what we're trying to do as a band and be entertainers, and maybe people who don't get up and dance, and if they're complaining, they haven't figured that part out yet. I'm not trying to judge anybody, but so like when you hear something, or me as a musician, when I hear something and it electrifies me, like the hairs in the back of your neck stand up, and like all I want to do is go up and stand and watch the band, and watch them, see how they're doing everything, and I think maybe because we're so overwhelmed, that excitement's gone. I don't know. I still get excited when I see my friends and my band and bands. I'm just like, yeah, I'm like if I'm standing up front, I'm like looking at you guys, and like I'm enjoying myself. I'm watching how you play, how you interact with the audience, how are you guys captivating them, what are you guys doing to do that? Because I want to do that. So. I can agree, and I think I can disagree to that. I think it all depends on is being able to find that balance point and not play to the audience. You gotta I think we've learned how to, because like I said, we do like 3-hour sets, and we play covers as well as we play originals. We mix it up all night. It was like you got to watch your audience. Like you see anybody like you dip, and we're like, well, we're not gonna play that song next. We're gonna play this song because we know that's gonna get them back engaged, or we'll like play a couple originals and then play cover. Like as soon as you see them like jump out, like I can tell bands maybe it's, don't be afraid to play cover songs. And then the great thing about playing cover songs for me is like we play a huge genre. We play everything from stuff from the 50s to today. Like we play the Foo Fighters, we play the Beatles, we play Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats, we do El King, we do Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, we do Led Zeppelin, we do Pink Floyd, we do Decemberists. We even cover some of our friends' bands songs. I'm like, oh, we want to cover our friends' band song. We're like what? And like, yeah, let's cover somebody else's song. And like when you learn cover songs, and it's almost like remembering like why you learned how to play music in the first place, because you love this music and then you learn how to play it, and then it gives you ideas on like every time like sometimes I have a writer's block, it gives me ideas on, oh, they wrote a song like this, and I'm like, okay, that's a cool like chord pattern or where they're going, or I like the beat of this song, let me see if I can write something to this beat, so that's kind of like how I'm going on that.
You've been listening to Shawn Peter of the band Ghost Town Rebellion. Ghost Town Rebellion is actually on tour right now supporting their album, so check out their website at theghosttownrebellionofficial.com. If you want to find out more about 3 Gigs, check out our website at 3gigspodcast.com. That's number 3, gigspodcast.com. You can see bonus content of all of our guests, including some live footage of the Ghost Town Rebellion. And you can find us online also on our social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram just by searching 3 Gigs. So give us a follow and let us know what you think of the show. Anyone you want to hear on the show, let me know and I'll find out if I can make it happen. I'd be happy to try. And if you also like the show and you use any sort of Apple product, check out our iTunes page and leave us a rating and a review. The better ratings we get, the more reviews we get, the more people who find out about the show, and that's always a good thing. The theme song for this episode was Silver and Gold by Ghost Town Rebellion from the album of the same title, Silver and Gold, out now on No Pants Records. My name is Dominic Davey. This has been 3 Gigs. Thank you so much for listening to the show, and we will see you next time.
Time just walking away.